Hogstyle.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Hogside. It's a very fun episode. Why? Because guess what? It is actually football season now. Steve is still doing weird hand gestures. Dave
It's
is
gang
not.
signs, man. Dave didn't. What are you talking about? Dave didn't.
I can only see
did.
one screen at a time. Actually, the way I had it set up, I was like looking at multiple screens.
I was just
Well,
throwing
like
gang
if you have a
signs.
Word document open, it like thumbnails
Oh,
the
yes.
whole Skype thing into the
Mhm.
corner. Yeah.
Yes.
So I only can see Steve right now.
Oh, well, good for you. I'm glad you can see me. It's
I'm
just
glad
from
I
my
can see you too,
from my
Steve.
gang past. I was just remembering,
Right.
throwing gang signs.
Yes. When you were with the Honeycomb Sliders, that was the name of your gang. It was really
No,
a doo-wop
honey-
group.
The honeycomb slider. That's awesome.
That sounds like the least tough gang it's ever been created.
Well, it's no Jets and Sharks from West Side Story, but what are you gonna do?
Okay, stop being a theater kid. I'm talking about like the Crips, man.
Stop being a '90s guy. The Crips. At least let's
The
get up to
Bloods, the Crips.
MS-13. Or I don't
I'm
even know who
better.
the current gangs are. I really don't. I'm out of it.
You're out of it. Well, me
Yeah.
too. That's why I'm trying to remember my gang signs.
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, we settled things with dancing. That
Spoken like a true theater kid, like I said.
Yeah, yes. Well, I was more of an AV kid than a theater kid. They kicked me out of the theater thing for not being a good enough actor. That was a whole story in high school. Whole thing.
And this is why you ended up on a podcast.
It is. That
to
is
satisfy
part of
your
it.
performance gene. Can't do anything else. Start a podcast.
Right. Well, it was more the lack of creativity at my boring government day-to-day job. I needed something, some kind of outlet.
I just love the Redskins. Is why I.
Oh yeah, that was also why. But it was just, hey, here's it. Also a good excuse to buy a bunch of AV equipment.
I'm really yeah. I mean, yes, I get it.
And
Sometimes you
and,
need
when,
that.
and while you guys are sitting there with all the couple $100 equipment right there, I got a $25 mic with my AirPods I got for Christmas 3 years ago.
See, Alex bugged me for years about getting a mixing board as a backup, and I just never did it because I never felt like it, and now we don't really use it very much. So
No, we don't. We really
I'm
don't.
kind of glad I didn't do that.
Yeah. It was the right call. Also, the technology evolved where, like, when we started, no one knew how to do Skype.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't even, yeah.
Yeah. Like, 10 years ago, people did not communicate via this. So
See, I had a 4-track recorder, but it was
Right.
like for it was in the attic. It was like tape based. I was using it for guitar stuff,
right.
but that was no good.
Yeah. Well, those things are cool to just have, though. I
I
got
got rid of it.
You guys can't really see it, but I have a bunch of like old vintage cameras behind me and stuff like that. Like those are display pieces in my mind. Those old.
Would you take them to a Washington football game?
Would I take these cameras that haven't worked since the 1920s? No.
I'm trying to transition us, Alex. Go with
Oh,
it.
you were trying to transition us to a thing. Oh, okay.
Let's start that again. Would you take one of those cameras to a Washington football game, perhaps?
You mean like a game against Arizona?
Such as that game, such as one against Arizona. See, we can do it better with
When Steve's not being a
two.
little too subtle. Well,
All right.
here's the thing, Steve. I can't get a ticket because it's sold out, which is very weird to say about a Washington football game.
That is. I wonder how long it's been. Anybody know? I don't know. Long time.
It's been over 10 years.
Really? That long, huh?
Jason Wright made a joke that, it was probably 2012 the last time they had sure sellouts through the whole season, the RG3 season.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
But
That is
Jason Wright
probably-
actually made a joke when talking with the media where he's like, well, we don't really have the best and most accurate records as to when the last time we had a opening day sellout was. And it's like, oh, you're just really digging in on your old boss now, aren't you? Which, good for him.
Well, sure. I mean, good for him, I guess. But how can they not have records?
Well,
How is that
Steve,
possible?
they have records, but remember they lied about how their attendance was for a whole 20
Yeah, that's
years.
true. Yeah, we have a waiting list.
Much rather not rehash that.
Yeah.
Just let that one go away.
Right.
I can say that I was on the waiting list for something like 6 or 7 years.
Right.
At one point. So there really was a waiting list up until like 2006 or 7 or something.
Well, I would assume it was probably right after Gibbs left that second time.
Yeah, I think so.
The Jim Zorn era is really when that stuff started going downhill.
It's all Jim Zorn's fault.
It is.
And of course, this sellout led to a great troll going bad because it was, I think it was a Giant fan who came out and said, "Oh, look at SeatGeek. I could find tickets in their sellout." And other Giant fans were coming in going, "Ever hear a resale? People sell their tickets. Season ticket holders sell their tickets.
Yeah.
People resell tickets. What are you trying to do here, man? It's not working."
Everybody has tickets on SeatGeek. All of them.
Yes.
That's just...
It's actually kind of a scam, to be honest, because SeatGeek and groups like that, they're buying a bunch of tickets directly and then just reselling them in some cases. In some cases, the artists are in on it, and then they're flipping their own tickets and bumping their ticket prices up. So I don't know if Washington's smart enough to do that, but
I don't know if the NFL would have rules against that. I feel like they might have like a we frown upon this kind of thing.
Well, if they do, they're not going to tell anybody something like that.
No, they're not that dumb. But yeah, I mean, I know Dave's going. Dave, do you want to try and get a vintage camera working? You can take some still photos. You just got to ask all the players to not move for 20 seconds.
Yeah, the camera with the real big flash bulb on there right there. So
I don't have... Most of what I have is actually old video cameras.
Okay.
Cameras. Yeah.
Would you care to tell the crowd what shirt you're wearing, Dave?
I will be wearing a burgundy shirt with on the back says "I survived the Snyder era, 1999 to 2023," and in the front I have a W logo with a football going right through it.
And that's something your daughter made for you, right?
No, it was something a buddy of mine, his fiance, made that for me.
Oh, okay.
And she usually uses just regular T-shirts from the Gaiden, whatever that company is right there. But I'm a big dry fit shirt guy. Sure. So I showed her the link for the dry fit shirts that I wanted, which Amazon Essential dry fit shirts, absolutely comfortable and they're not expensive at all. They were fantastic.
Maybe we ought to revive our defunct T-shirt business, Alex.
I'm not gonna go through that headache of trying to sell T-shirts again and no one buys them.
We didn't even try to sell them though. Is the thing.
Yeah, I know. we half-assed it all the way. The only thing I didn't half-ass was making them. Like
you made some good shirts, but like literally nobody knew they were there because we never even mentioned them.
Yeah. They're still there, and no one still buys them.
I didn't even know they were still there.
Yeah. Some of them are honestly terrible, and I should just get rid of them.
Probably get rid of them all, Alex.
Yeah, like the Bruce Allen as a clown, which
I didn't know when you remember that one.
Oh, I made a shirt that was Bruce Allen's face, but he was dressed up as Ronald McDonald the Clown. And that's on there. Trying to get us sued? Well, I mean, it's been up there for 12 years or whatever, you know. How long ago did Bruce get fired?
We haven't even had this show for 12 years.
2019.
Was it only 2019 that he got fired?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually,
so it's been up there probably since 2017 would be my guess. I made that one early on.
Actually, technically, I think it was actually just before New Year's of 2019. I think it was actually.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It was like right in that time frame right there when he was officially here. I know it was like either end of December or beginning part of January.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right, we should really focus in on what we got on the agenda today, because we do have to do our schedule predictions, and we got to do the preview against the Arizona Cardinals. Where do we want to start? I'm gonna say dealer's choice. Do we start with the Cardinals?
No, let's do predictions, but let's do it pretty quickly. Right, we got to run through predictions, and we'll focus on the game.
All right, we can do that. All right. And I just realized the thing I have open for predictions on Pro Football Reference is not actually the schedule. It was odds. I didn't know they had odds on there.
Well, I have it. You want me to do it?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have the schedule in front of you?
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I do too. So.
All right. We're gonna run through these kind of quickly. Like I said, we should have done this last week, but to be honest, we forgot. So, okay, week 1, Arizona at Washington. Let's start with Dave. Are you keeping up with this, Alex? You got to write this down.
I'm gonna write this down.
Right. Okay. Well, right now, this is probably going to be the easiest game they have all year, and if they don't win by double digits, I'm sorry, they got a problem.
Yeah, I said Washington solid win as well.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. This is the easiest thing to guess win on.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's not even playing. Yeah. Okay, week 2, Washington at Denver.
Alex. All right, I'll go first on this one. I'm going to say this is a win as well.
Okay.
Dave?
I'm actually at a loss because right now the Broncos' biggest strength goes against Washington's offense's biggest strength, which is their secondary against their receivers. The Denver defensive front is actually pretty good against the run, and I think it's a push between it's on offense and defense and everything. I give this one a loss.
I think Dave's rationale is more firm than mine. I just kind of have a feeling about it. I think the Broncos kind of suck. So I said Washington win in a close game.
Okay. All right, week 3. Let's do week 3 now. What are we at? Buffalo
at Washington. Can we just say it all together?
Yeah, let's all just say 1, 2, 3.
Loss.
Okay.
Yeah. That one's
that one's easy. There's no debate there. That's a blowout. Washington at Philadelphia, week 4. Dave.
It's a sweep. Simple as that. That Philly defensive front's gonna be no joke this year. That defense, I have told people, it's probably gonna be reminiscent.
Dude, Dave freeze?
Ravens defense or whatever it was. But
okay.
Yeah, so it's Eagles are just a class of the NFC right now. I don't see them winning either one of these two games.
And if there was just a hiccup for you out there, we had a temporary technical problem, but the nutshell of it is loss. I predict Philadelphia loss too. Philadelphia win.
Yeah, of course. I'm with you guys. They are easily the best team in the NFC this year.
Oh yeah.
So
okay. Next week 5, Chicago at Washington. Now, this is on a Thursday night, mind you. Yeah. So Alex, let's start with you.
I'm predicting a win for this one. This is also my birthday weekend game, so I definitely want them to win just for that reason.
Fair enough.
Total idiot homerism reason,
True, but you have a right to do that. Yeah. Dave.
Well, this would be the first of their mini win streak in the season as they win against the Bears.
For me, I said loss. And Washington has a really, really, really bad history on Thursday nights. And Justin Fields has gotten better. If you notice, he was a much better quarterback last year. So I don't know. There's something about this game. I just think Bears are going to win. So chalk me down for a loss. Week 6, Washington at Atlanta. Dave.
I went with a win on that one.
Alex.
I'm going to win. Yeah. I don't think Atlanta is very good right now.
Yeah, I don't either. Atlanta sucks. Washington win. Solid win. Week 7, Washington at the Giants.
I'm going to say that's a win too, honestly. I don't believe the Giants are going to be that much different than they were last year. So, let's say that's a W.
Okay, you can be wrong. That's okay. Dave.
Well, I think they're going to want to split in their games, and I think Washington takes the first matchup. Giants will win the second one.
No, I think this is a loss. I think the Giants are better than what Alex is saying. That's my view of it, and it's in New York. Washington's been bad in New York a lot of time, many times. I like Daniel Jones, so I think a Giants loss, but it'll be a close game. Week 8, Philadelphia at Washington. Dave, you already said loss for that one. Yes. So Alex?
Yeah, loss.
Yeah, loss. Me too. That's easy.
There's no
loss.
chance. Yeah.
No. And that's week 8. That's first half of the season.
By the way, I'm looking at this, Steve. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row. Is that right?
No. I said.
Oh, you said they beat Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I said they beat Atlanta. You got me down for that, right?
Yeah, I do. I think I wrote it down wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Week 9 is Washington at New England.
Right.
Tough one here.
This is a toss-up.
Yeah, I think this one winds up being a really close game right down to the wire, and I think with the lack of mobility in Mac Jones and without the presence of a true pass catching threat, I think Washington pulls this one out for a win.
Alex?
I'm gonna go loss. I think that this is probably Bill Belichick's last season. I think he's gonna really be trying hard to, show up the world a little bit.
Yeah, I said loss too, and it was came down to the quarterback because Mac Jones isn't very mobile, but he got better as a quarterback. Mobility is just kind of an extra gift, really. I mean, the guy posted a 92.5 quarterback rating, 67.6 completion percentage last year. He's getting better, and I think he's going to keep getting better. It's in Boston. It's just Bill Belichick in Boston. The Patriots typically do well. Yeah, they've had down years, but I think this is kind of a squeaker loss. Week 10 at Seattle. Dave.
I'm sitting there with a loss on that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. Alex?
It really is a tough one. I could go either way on this one. Kind of similar with New England. This is a team that's probably about on par with Washington in terms of talent. But Pete Carroll, I think, is just a better overall coach than Ron Rivera, so I'm going to go loss.
I think this is a big loss. I mean, I think they are a better team. They were better last year. They're better this year. Really long travel day. All of that, not good. Oh, so loss for me. Week 11, New York Giants at Washington. Alex.
I'm going to go loss here. I think we split with New York.
Okay.
Even though I don't really particularly think they're a good team, I see this as a split.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, and this is that split part of right here for a loss on my part too.
I think they're going to split too, but I think they're going to win the home game. Washington's going to win the home game, so I put them at a win here. At Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, better known as the spawn of Satan for all Washington teams.
Right. I'm going to go win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going against the norm.
I think that there's going to be this is going to probably spark something because they're, going to be hovering around 500. They're going to feel like they need to do something. Also, Dallas is also a team where I could see them folding if things go wrong quickly. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it's been in, Dave.
I mean, you make good points about the fact they could really fold at this point of the year, which you're probably not wrong, but unfortunately, I don't see this a close matchup at all. I see it as a double-digit win by the Cowboys.
Yeah, me too. I think there's a big easy Cowboy win. All of the signs are there. Week 13, Miami at Washington. Let's start with Dave.
I actually gave them a win on this one because every strength that Washington has plays into the weakness of which that Miami has to control this game, and they can run against this defense if they can get the ball going. But the biggest part of this matchup is that Miami just does not have a run game at all. I gave this one in a close game too, by the way, but I do give this one to Washington.
Okay, Alex.
I mean, this one's going to depend. Is Tua still alive by this point?
That was it. And I wrote about that in my article when I broke this game down too. I don't even see him in this game. You're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's a walking CTE ad at this point.
So
I'm going to go win too. I'm with Dave.
Yeah, I predicted win kind of for the same reason. One, I'm just not a Tua fan.
Right.
As in terms of his quarterbacking ability, even if he's healthy, I think he's overrated. I don't think he's that great a quarterback. They have some talent, but they are traveling.
Like very talented receiving core.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're into the last quarter of the season. Week 14's a bye. Week 15 at the Rams. Ooh, travel day to L.A.
Rams are no good though. They're I mean, they've been kind of blowing up their Super Bowl team to get younger, and they're doing like a baseball thing. It feels like almost with how they're reconstructing their roster.
Did you guys see there was a story that Matthew Stafford's wife talked to some media outlet and said, "Yeah, my husband really has trouble like relating to people." Did you see this? Relating to younger people?
I'm not surprised. Have you ever looked at Matthew Stafford?
I have. I try not to.
Yeah. He doesn't. He doesn't look like a guy who relates to people very well. I don't know what that means, but just take it for what it is.
I think his wife ought to not tell the world that, though. But
yeah, pretty much.
Sure. So I'm going win, by the way, in case people.
Yeah, the Rams defense isn't the Rams defense anymore. Matt Stafford, he's going to be down Cooper Kupp for a good portion of the beginning part of the season, but I don't know. The Rams are just not going to be any good. All that spending and the trading is finally catching up to them. So I give this one a win.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Rams are on the way down. They're not a very good team. Matthew Stafford, I don't get it. So yeah, it's a tough travel day, but I think they can go in there and win. Week 16 at the Jets. Do we need to debate this one?
No, not at all.
This is
I think
easy.
we can all just give it a big L, right?
In fact, the next two games I think are just not even obtainable for them.
Yeah, I mean the thing about the Jets is Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a mission.
Yes.
They have a lot of talent. They brought in more talent. The Jets weirdly are going to be good, assuming Rodgers can stay upright.
It's a fascinating thing to look at, though, because they're at the same time, it's maybe the best division in football that he can do. It's not like there's any pushovers on his schedule there.
And the people hinge their hope on the fact that the Jets' offensive line is not very good. Mm-hmm. Have you seen ours and the defense we have to go against? I mean, come on, man. It balances out.
Yeah. Okay, Week 17, San Francisco at Washington.
I'm leaning loss pretty heavily. I think Dave kind of said
this is
not
loss.
Really the same class team.
No, this is a blowout loss. Okay, I'll put loss. Last one, Week 18, Dallas at Washington. Let's go, Dave.
I give them a win on default because I think the Cowboys will have a playoff position and locked up and done. They have nothing to play for, and I think we want to pull a win out just for that reason.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
I think it's a win, but I think it's because Dallas is completely out of the playoff punt at this point, and they're probably even starting Trey Lance to see if they have anything with them.
Yeah, it's going on your point setter. Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I think that Dallas is going to have shut it down because they're preparing for the playoffs at this point. They don't need to win. Dallas, more than any other team, I think probably that they play a lot, has had Washington's number.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it's just the truth. They are, I think it was 14-6 in the last 20 games against Washington. I think that was the number. I get where you're going with it, Alex, but I don't think Dallas is that bad. So I think they're going to squeak a win out, even in shutdown mode, because Washington will be done by that point. So you're saying that's a loss? I'm sorry. Yeah, Dallas squeaks out a win, even in shutdown mode, because Washington's going to have shut it down, and it's going to be chaos at that point. If the season played out as what I said, this is Rivera's last game. Sure. It won't be good.
If they're at 10 losses at that point, Rivera.
Yeah. So real quick, I published a column on Tuesday about this, so I have it all in front of me. My overall season prediction was 6-11.
Yeah. I have Dave at 8 wins.
And Alex, where are you at?
I'm at 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just so everyone understands, I went on the more optimistic side with the 8 wins. The 8 wins to me is their ceiling, with maybe a grenade shot somewhere to disable a team somewhere where they can get them without real, off guard or whatever, and sneak out another win for 9 wins. I went the optimistic side because if you read any of my articles and even my recent one this week, this offensive line, who statistically was not dead last, but near last, almost every category, and it was minimal to no improvement on the line. Now I get what Mark Schlereth was saying about Sadiq Charles and
Cosby. Looks like he's throw that out there. What did Mark Schlereth say about Sadiq Charles? I saw it because you texted it to us, but tell everybody what it was said.
Okay, so basically what he has talked about with Sadiq Charles is he saw his technique. He's real strong with his hands, and his footwork was real clean. He's really bullying guys around. He has a nasty streak with them, and he really sees a really good up-and-coming interior offensive lineman, almost a potential Pro Bowl caliber type of lineman.
Are you sure he wasn't watching like John Charles or something, or maybe like Sadiq Smith? maybe.
Listen, you know what?
What?
This is something that Schlereth does. I'm not going to argue with him.
He knows a zillion times more about football than we do, but it's like,
right.
Really? I mean, that's just totally out of left field, seems like.
Well, I mean, I think he was talking about tenacity and physicality more than anything else with Charles, not necessarily that he's got clean technique at this point, which I think is that's a pretty big.
But that's literally the only positive thing I've ever read about Sadiq Charles in terms of his professional career.
Which is true and fair. That is the only thing you've ever read positive about him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have a good answer to that part, Steve. Like, we also we're saying this is what Mark Schlereth is saying, right? Like,
yeah, I agree. I mean, and who are we to question Mark Schlereth? But it's really out of left field.
It is. It is a bit out of left field. You're right.
But where I was going with it is, I kind of agree with Dave. The 6 wins is pessimistic, and a couple people put comments. You're being a real pessimist. Well, I'm trying to be real and honest.
Right.
We've never been fanboys on this show, and Dave, I think it's possible that they pull a couple of these games out that I said were lost, and it could flip. Dave kind of went slightly more positive than I did, but he and I were both sort of in the same realm, basically, about where we see the team. Alex seems to be a little bit more positive, which is fine. I mean, we were kidding around, but I mean,
honestly, it's also, I just can never stomach saying the Washington will lose to Dallas. So, like, you have to take those wins into account there.
Right, I get it. And so if you take that, then we're kind of, he's not too far off from our realm either.
None of us see this as like a 13-3 season.
No. And I know there's a lot of like raging fanboys out there who think this is the year and everything, and maybe you're right, but I mean, there's not really evidence to see it, and I think the offensive line is just a train wreck.
Yeah. Well, see, I agree with that. Now look, I do think this whole season is really more about, can Sam Howell develop at this point? If you win 6 games like Steve predicts, but Sam Howell has a good season, like if you're saying, oh, he threw for 4,000-ish yards and 20-something touchdowns, interceptions is less than half than the touchdowns, you found a franchise quarterback that you can build around now. And that's maybe not a minute. Not a super. You found a quarterback you can build around. Let's
not call somebody a franchise quarterback, because he has a few good games, which he hasn't even had yet.
Right. I'm just saying, if you can develop him into something functional, that's more important to me than trying to make the playoffs this year.
The one thing I think people are being drawn into is how it looked in the preseason.
Yeah.
But I know people understand this, but what people don't want to really truly understand is they're going against defenses that are they're not scheming, they're not running any form of scheme. They're just out there, they're going through the motions, they're doing different things, trying new things, and so forth. They had no game plan against Hal. They're not game planning against any of the weaknesses along the offensive line. So you had no idea how that's going to translate into the regular season. That's why I don't share that same optimism. Now, I'll be more than happy to sit here and figuratively eat crow, if I'm wrong on that. That's great. I'll love that. I'll love the fact that it's wrong and that Sam Howell becomes the next Jalen Hurts or whatever, or something like that. And then we go off and we win 12, 13 games. That's great. I would love to see that. I'm rooting for that, but I'm not convinced of that.
Well, Jalen Hurts' first year, he wasn't particularly good.
No, he wasn't. No, right. That's true.
No, but Philadelphia did an amazing thing with Jalen Hurts, and I give this to the Giants too. They were patient and developed him.
Oh,
imagine
absolutely.
That. See, Washington could write a book
on not doing that. Yes.
About how to ruin quarterbacks. Washington's been one of the worst teams in the NFL with quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Just a train wreck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back. We don't need to rehash all that, but that's what happens when you're patient and you have good coaching and you support these people.
Right.
Now I will add to that though. What I see what Bieniemy's trying to do is what is the adverse of what Washington has been doing right now. He's trying to run a quick passing game, getting him in the motion. He's trying to generate opportunities for him on the field that helps also the offensive line of what they may or may not be able to sustain their blocks and so forth. So they're trying to get the ball out quick. And Sam Howell's a quick release. He's trying to get that part of the game incorporated with Sam Howell, and he's doing it right away. As opposed to like Jay Gruden going right out there with RG3. Okay, let's just run a West Coast type of system with you and see what you can do, even though he can't run that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that is a big thing. Obviously Bieniemy comes from that West Coast style, so that's what he's going to try and do. And Turner just was running his dad's stuff from the 80s, which was all Air Coryell. He wanted the deep balls, not the short stuff. I was honestly surprised that Dwayne Haskins and Turner didn't work better together, because Haskins – They
were not patient with Haskins. Yeah. You cannot draft a guy in the 4th round
and throw him in there like that.
Jerk him around and yank him out in a few games and hand him a new coach. And I mean, it's like Dave, you sent out another Twitter thing. It was Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC. His father said, "Well, Caleb can go back to school if it's a bad situation at 1." I utterly don't blame him. Because it's so much about quarterbacking in the NFL. Successful quarterbacking is about situation.
Right.
Is the situation good? Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years, something like that.
Yep, behind Brett Favre. Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be, but if you look at like teams that are really just a total mess, like the Jets, Washington, Detroit, they have messed. Cincinnati. All those teams are just messed up quarterbacks, and it's because they're just they're not organized properly. Their coaches are bad. Their organization is bad. They don't support people.
Well, look, let's also be clear. Some of this is on these quarterbacks themselves.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe they're not doing a good enough job scouting because I've always said the intangibles need to come first with a quarterback. Do you have that mental fortitude to really be an NFL quarterback?
Because most of them have the arms, at least to be a decent, quarterback.
Most of them have enough tools in the tool bag to be functional, be it their arm, the legs, whatever. There's so many little things that a quarterback can do.
And that might have been the most frustrating part with Haskins, because Haskins and his arm talent fit the mold of what Turner wanted to do, because Haskins had the arm to go downfield. He absolutely had. It's just his maturity, and his priorities wasn't all there just yet. I mean, he was still a kid. Yeah. He was a guy that needed to sit for a full year, start coming in a little bit in the next, see what he could do in the offseason. Is he ready? Or does he need to sit for another year?
All that said, Haskins was a terrible fit for what Jay Gruden does when they drafted him. It didn't make any sense to draft a guy with a long wind-up, big arm. So we should get to you did mention Caleb Williams, and I think it's not so subtle that dig was at the team Washington is going to be playing in this coming season.
Oh, absolutely.
Or this coming game, not season. Yes, you know what I meant. Arizona is tanking, and Arizona might be doing the most clear tank job in terms of roster, in terms of all this stuff they've done this offseason. This is the most obvious tank job I've ever seen a team do, I feel like.
Now, only thing – I'm sorry, go ahead.
The thing that blows my mind, and I don't know about you guys, they just paid Kyler Murray all that money, and now they're tanking for the first-round pick to get another quarterback, it looks like?
Right.
Is that what's going on?
See, I don't know if this is an intentional tank job more than incompetence, because you got to remember this is Arizona, okay? Bill Bidwell was the owner. He died, and now it's his son, and usually it doesn't get better with the son, okay?
It obviously isn't right now.
No.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've traded away multiple top-notch or starting players, some of their better names. They traded what? A linebacker and a lineman away already?
Yeah, they traded Isaiah Simmons, right? Into
Isaiah Simmons
Giants
was the big
divisions.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, and they moved DeAndre Hopkins earlier in the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, they cut him actually.
Yeah.
So
blows my mind.
Think of what else. Yeah. Well, Well, see, and that's why I kind of subscribe to the tanking idea, because they did all that to absorb all that cap money this year, so they freed everything up for next year. But
they traded Josh Jones. That's the little guy I was thinking of, for a 5th rounder from Texas to the Texans.
Right.
Yeah. So, like they already had a fire sale, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
You look at their roster right now with no Kyler Murray. Their quarterback situation ain't great.
Nope.
They said they've figured out who their quarterback's going to be, right? But we don't know if it's going to be Josh Dobbs or Clayton Tune. Who
I think Dobbs has the lead on that, but yeah, that was kind of weird that they still won't announce it. Even Ron Rivera said, "If I was them, I wouldn't announce it either."
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And by the way, I wouldn't either. You don't, if you're not required to. I would never do it in this situation.
I mean, you know what? The first offensive series, put them both out there. Why not?
Run them both out there. Run some. What was that called? The wide A or something? That offense that it was an offense from like 15 years ago.
Are you talking about the Wildcat?
No. There was this offense. It was really used in high schools more, where they would run out 2 quarterbacks at the same time. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, yeah. There have been multiple offenses where teams have done that.
We're just saying maybe that's what Arizona should do to start. Just put both quarterbacks out, just to really try and confuse Washington.
Listen, Joshua Dobbs sucks, if that's what you're talking about. I had to step away for just a minute.
Yeah. No, Steve, we agree. Joshua Dobbs sucks. So does Clayton Tune. Their other quarterback.
Yeah, they both do. Right. Clayton Tune is, a rookie, to be fair. I mean, at least give him a shot. He was good at University of Houston. Is he going to be John Elway? No, but I would be more apt to say, if I had to pick one who won't suck, I'd say maybe Clayton Tune will suck less than Joshua Dobbs sucks, which is a lot.
Joshua Dobbs has been a career 3rd stringer in the NFL.
That's what I'm talking about. So Clayton Tune has a shot to make it.
Well, I know early most of camp, Tune, accuracy was just all over the place. He just couldn't get anything in a catch window for a receiver. That was mostly during OTAs and training camp and stuff. I didn't really watch anything in the preseason games what he's done. So, but
yeah. And Dobbs, meanwhile, has been with Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Tennessee. He's played in 8 games since 2017. That's his career experience. 8 games.
Nice.
He's made a lot of money though.
You stay that in the NFL that long, you've made a nice little head of money there, right? Like
that's why
if you're just taking the minimum.
That's why Washington loses this game. Ron Rivera just needs to resign at the press conference.
Just resign in disgrace.
Yeah.
Done. I'm out.
Yeah. They have no quarterback. Their only real threat, I feel like, on offense is Zach Ertz. They don't.
Well, no, I like Marquise Brown. He's a good receiver.
Yeah, Marquise Brown. Okay.
Yeah, they
need a quarterback to get him the ball, though.
I agree. But you asked for weapons. He's got a weapon. He's got Marquise Brown. Yeah. James Conner is an above average, maybe, running back. He's solid. Zach Ertz is solid. Their offensive line may be a mess, but we'll see where Paris Johnson, how well he does. Remember that he was their 1st-round draft pick.
Right.
Tackle. I don't know if he's. I guess they have him listed as right tackle on their depth chart. I would assume he would have been a left tackle, but regardless.
I thought Zach Ertz was a lot older than he is. He's only 32.
He's been hurt and messed up. Seems like for a while.
I feel like he's been in the NFL for 15 years. He's only 32. 11 years. So that is a long run in the NFL for Zach Ertz. But yeah, overall, you look at this roster. There's a few people who are legitimate NFL players on here, right? But you got Budda Baker, you got the guys we mentioned on offense, but this is a team that lacks depth at any position, in my mind, and they don't have a quarterback. And most of their starters are not going to would probably be like second stringers on a lot of NFL
And I would like
teams.
to point out when we say they don't have a quarterback, in my mind that includes Kyler Murray, because I don't think Kyler Murray. One, he's about 4'8",
right?
And I don't think he's properly developed. I think he was overrated from the start, and I think he was overdrafted from the start.
I mean, he was fantastic in the Ring of Power, though. Didn't you see him in there?
The Ring of Power.
Lord of the Rings TV show that Amazon did last night.
Sorry, I missed that. You missed one earlier. I missed this one. It was like it took me a second to realize what the hell you were talking about.
No one else watched it either. It's fine.
No, but for those of you who are missing this, he's calling him a midget. Okay?
I'm calling him a hobbit. Yes, or maybe a dwarf. The beard and hair, the head of hair, kind of leans dwarf in my mind.
It is kind of like he sort of looks like he ought to be a hobbit a little bit there.
Yeah, when you see him on the field, yeah. Yeah, him and the guy from Alabama, the rookie. Yeah,
see, I think so that's that. But in terms of Josh Dobbs, he's sort of like the Walmart version of Jacoby Brissett.
He might be the Dollar General version of
maybe.
Actually, I was thinking a Walmart version of Josh Johnson.
Yeah, I could see that too. Josh Johnson at least has a little heart, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Josh Johnson has barely played at all either, so I don't know about that.
But the games he's played, he's actually at least half of them is done fairly well. Decent at least. I mean, Dobbs on. I mean, you can't even give me one.
I think we can all agree Josh Dobbs sucks. Let's just leave it at that.
So, which means he'll throw for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and
it's happened before.
If he did that, he would almost double his career totals of yardage. His career total is 456 yards. So
okay, so is that safe to say we've covered their offense?
Yes,
and their offense sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so defense, it's almost worse. Wouldn't you?
I would say I would agree honestly. The defense, like when we talk about names, big name players, because that's who matters in the NFL.
Right.
This is a cast of nobodies. You got Buda Baker, and that's really your biggest player on defense.
I think Marco Wilson's a decent corner.
Yeah. So they have a decent corner, and Baker, borderline Pro Bowl safety at this point. I don't even know.
That's fair. Yeah.
Baker. Yeah.
I'd
give him that.
Yeah. He was a guy who I remember when he was coming out, I really kind of wanted Washington to draft because I thought he had some good upside. And I'm a sucker for good safety play anyway. Thanks, Sean Taylor.
But all that having been said, Arizona's pass defense last year was one of the worst in the NFL.
Right.
So what we kind of hinted around about without saying is like their two key players, maybe Marco Wilson, Buda Baker, and we turn around and tell you that their pass defense was atrocious.
Yeah.
So it's just Arizona's not a good team. Look, here it is. Arizona is a bad organization. They have little talent. Their starting quarterback is out, and he's not that good anyway. And they have to travel all the way across the country, across 3 time zones.
Right.
For a week 1 in which the fan base, the crowd at least, will be pumped up at the beginning in light of the new era. The tiny troll is out.
Right.
All of that. So this is a recipe for success for Washington. I'm not totally done with the written game preview yet, but I did look up the odds. The odds early in the week was Washington -7, which is
a full
like a holy cow.
Yeah.
By Washington standards, it's normally the opposing team -7 for Washington, and that tells you how bad they think the Cardinals are.
Yeah, I mean that line actually doesn't surprise me very much. And I'm not a betting man, but I would take that. I would take Washington to win this by more than
I don't bet either, but I would. That seems like a reasonable line to me. I mean, I would probably take it.
Yeah,
I think I would. Yeah.
Maybe we should do like a team hogstye gambling thing, and we just
no. As
I didn't mean with corporate
counsel,
funds, Steve.
No,
I did not mean with our corporate funds. I would have done it with personal money, not hogstye money. That would be a crime, I assume.
Well, there's a lot of issues, like Anyway, I'm in Texas. You can't do that, and no, absolutely not.
No. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting ass kicking to start the year. I'm hoping.
I'll put it to you. I'll put it to you this way: this game should get everyone thinking Sam Howell's the guy. You're talking about a defense that was 32nd in the league in giving up completion percentage of 69.81% opposing quarterbacks, almost 70%. You're talking about a defense that gave up a passer rating worse than the league of 98.2. I mean, it's and they're terrible getting pressure on a quarterback. They're ranked 24th in that, only getting 2.1 sacks per game. Is what they average at. It's just it's a defense. They're going to apply no pressure. They're going to have no coverage. Sam Howell should have all the time in the world with the receivers that we have. And then if by some miracle of a chance they have any kind of coverage on the receivers, Antonio Gibson's more than prime to take advantage of underneath now that Isaiah Simmons is gone off the roster. There's nobody to even cover him coming out of the backfield. This should easily be a game where I could see Howell getting over 300 yards passing and maybe like 3 touchdowns.
The football gods have blessed Washington with their easiest game of the season in week 1 to celebrate the start of the new era of Washington football. Might not be an accident.
Oh, no, I don't think that was. Look, the NFL does certain things on purpose, scheduling-wise.
Yes, they do.
The obvious ones being the matchups they always want to pick during Thanksgiving, but they do
opening day matchup, on the Thursday night. I don't even know who it is this year.
Well, it's Kansas City, and they're playing Detroit, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Kansas City. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, we're just kind of guessing, but it seems like a reasonable hypothesis would be that this is a bit of a setup so Washington can start strong for the new ownership, new team, revitalize. Because it's good for the league if Washington is not a mess.
Yes.
It's one of the oldest teams in the NFL. Not an original team, but it's goes back to 32.
I mean, of the original teams, there's really only 3. So,
right. So it's really one of the first group. It's safe to one of the first group of teams that really kind of started the league. We can say that.
Right.
That brought the league to prominence. And so it's not
people
good.
Forget there were 40 teams that defunct before that.
Yeah, it's not good for the league when Washington is such a mess that has been all these years. And so a part of me thinks that maybe the football schedules threw Washington a bone a little bit here just to get everything on a good note and kind of get the team back to normal, a sense of normalcy.
Right.
Kind of, if you have to play the Washington Generals, let's throw them in week 1.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I will say Arizona kind of has going for them, Jonathan Gannon, their coach, he was in Philadelphia the last 2 years. So it's not like he doesn't know Washington as an opponent pretty well. And, I guess who was Philadelphia's last team they played against in the Super Bowl and lost to? Kansas City. So, he might know a little bit of what Eric Bieniemy does from that. But these are minor, that kind of coaching matchup stuff gets overblown.
To be honest, I think that's all that kind of stuff is overrated a little bit. None of these offenses are really breaking new ground here. Nobody's blazing new trails. Very few of them, at least. So they know what Eric Bieniemy does. Everybody knows what Eric Bieniemy does. It's a matter of execution by the players first and foremost. I think.
Absolutely.
Right.
I just want to give them something that they could maybe hope for. For the 2 Arizona fans out there, I want to give them some hope. And I don't mean listening. I just mean there's 2 Arizona fans.
2 period, generally.
on the planet. Yes.
Who are we to laugh? We were the last Washington, and really you 2, because I even kind of wasn't even a fan.
Yeah.
So it's really you 2 and a couple sycophants in pig costumes were the only Washington fans left. So we should not be making fun of other teams.
That's fair.
Well, see, I'm in position to make fun of other teams because I survived the Snyder era. I'm allowed to.
There you go.
Yeah,
I didn't really survive the Snyder era. I can't.
No, you
didn't. I wouldn't really be honest in wearing that.
No, it's very sad.
I just can't I cannot get past the name. You took the name. I cannot get past it. It is not the same team.
I get
for
that
me.
You can't get past that. And odds are we're gonna have a new name in a year or two. So
thank God. And just the name Commanders was so awful. The way they rolled it out was awful. Jason Wright is awful.
It's like I told you before. I loosely associate Commanders with the Redskins anyway. That's the only way I was able to move forward with this team.
Yeah.
So it's
but what I think Alex knows probably better than Dave about me is that I am the most stubborn person that's ever walked the face of the earth.
Yes. Everyone knows that about you. It's
is everyone knows? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not breaking news.
So real quick, we should go over where Washington is with some injuries, at least to the key guys, because I double checked this. It looks like Logan Thomas was cleared to play in this game. That's the latest.
You want me to just run over the injury report real fast?
If you have the official injury report.
I have an official injury report. Yeah. Okay, Dax Milne, DNP Wednesday, groin. Terry McLaurin, toe, limited on Wednesday. Chase Young, limited on Wednesday. Benjamin St. Juste. Chase Young was neck. Benjamin St. Juste, an ankle. And on the Cardinals side, of note, Zach Ertz limited because of knee, and Marquise Brown limited because of knee. Those are the official injury reports.
Right. So the big things, like I said, Logan Thomas looks like he's cleared.
Yeah.
Perry still has turf toe, I imagine, but it sounds like he's gonna try to play.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I blame Lavernius Coles. I have a weird fear of players.
You blame Lavernius Coles?
He never got right after he got turf toe back in the 90s.
And he's responsible for Terry McLaurin's
He's 100% responsible for my fear of guys with turf toe. What they were saying about Chase Young is he's waiting to hear on a doctor, but he feels healthy. Like a doctor
he says he's ready to go.
Yeah.
I roll my eyes at that guy. I mean, he needs to. I'm done with him. He needs to prove himself before I can listen to any of his BS anymore.
Yeah.
He needs a prime Nick Bosa season to stay around after this year.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he's going to get that.
He may not, but that's the leap he needs in my eyes.
Yeah. Now Nick Bosa signed for 5 years, I believe, $170 million. I believe.
Yep.
Humongous contract. Of course, Nick Bosa has been, I believe, an All-Pro. So there's a big difference.
Nick Bosa is arguably top 3 defensive player in the league at this point?
Yeah, I think
probably,
so.
Yeah. I mean, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can say he's definitively the best.
No, you'd have to say Aaron Donald's probably definitively the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but he's up there with him.
He's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. We should mention an old name has returned to the team. Jamison Crowder.
Yes.
Crowder re-signing made me happy because I was always a big Jamison Crowder fan. You know, the little tiny slot wide receiver guy. Love him. Love those types of players.
Yeah, but he was a big special teams guy for you, and you love special teams.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Jamison Crowder always had talent, and if you look at his numbers and stuff, he was doing pretty well after he left Washington. Then he got injured, and he kind of got after that at the last year, and it just never went well. He ended up on a practice. He ended up getting cut from I forget even.
Bills, I believe,
But it kind of ruined him after he got cut. But I mean, if you go back, he's like an 8 or 9 year vet or something at this point.
Yeah, he's 30 years old now. But look, for all the good receivers Washington has, and they have, I would say, 3 good receivers. None of them are a true slot guy, even though they're not big outside.
I would argue Millen is, but Millen sucks.
Well, I said we have 3 good receivers. He's not in that conversation.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so the 3 good ones are not slot guys. So fair.
Yeah. I mean, Terry and Jahan
Dotson.
Yes, I don't know why I put the D and the J, switched them. But they're
Jahan Johnson.
Yeah. Even though they're not big guys, they're not slot guys. Like they don't have that twitch that guys like Crowder had when he was.
Well, you can also have another type, which is like the Cam Sims type. Those are people are good. They don't have that either.
Right. Art Monk was that back in the day too. Like when
Art Monk did a lot of things, but I mean, he would.
But that was also a different era. You didn't have the natural slot guys. So like, I know they brought Crowder back to basically be a punt returner. It sounds like, but if you put him out on the field in the slot, I think he can do some things that other guys on this team still can't do very well.
Can somebody explain to me why Dax Milne still is on this team?
No,
it's called It's called blackmail photos.
Yeah, does he have naked pictures of Ron Rivera or what?
Actually,
I don't think Ron
I
Rivera would care about naked pictures of
It was
him.
Ron Rivera snorting coke off a table. I mean, what is it?
I don't know. Who's our receivers coach? I mean, maybe it's that guy.
I guess. I don't understand. I mean, look, the prior regime drafted Crowder, okay? So there's not really that connection there. But he does have talent. He has some proven talent. He's a solid NFL player. Dax Milne has never proved that. I mean, give up the dream. Yes, he's a draft pick. Yeah. But it's been, what is this, year 3 for this guy? He's not a good punt returner. He's never done much on offense. I don't get it. And now you have Crowder sitting there on the practice squad, who is a proven solid NFL player at a minimum.
Also, Dax Milne was Mr. Irrelevant. Let's not forget that. As far as a draft pick goes, he was the least picked draft pick of his draft.
Yeah.
So, I
don't get why Casimir Allen got cut. To be honest, that he should be on the team returning. He fumbled. I think he ruined himself in that last preseason game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, probably.
But I think they should have gotten past that and realized that he was a fairly dynamic punt returner. He wasn't Brian Mitchell, but he was a fairly dynamic punt returner. And now you're going to have Milne back there, fair catch and everything, and running 3 yards and falling down.
It sounds like the plan is not to do that from this signing. And let's hope so.
Crowder's on the practice squad.
Yeah, but I think that's more to It sounds to me like he wasn't in training camp with anybody, so he needs to get back into football shape first.
Maybe. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always will root for James Crowder. I think he was one of those finds that Washington had during the Jay Gruden era that was like a really good player that I don't know why they let him go.
Washington has had a history of letting decent players walk.
Right.
He was
that was a nice trio too we had out there with Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, and him. That was a really good trio right there.
Yep.
That was in my mind, an almost perfect trio of you got your deep speed guy, a great possession guy, and a perfect slot guy. In terms of skill sets, I loved that trio probably more than any other. Even you go back to the glory days where it was just they were all stars at that point. It's not even fair, Yeah,
I just don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get why. We're also talking about the 5th receiver at this point, so maybe I don't need to get it too much.
Well, there's that. Yeah, I mean, is it going to make that big of a difference? No, probably not. But listen, people, we got to have something to talk about. Okay.
Right. When it comes to the receiving core, our biggest problem is who's the 5th guy, because we know the 4. Yeah. Let's hope that Crowder can beat him out quickly, because I'm with you. I don't need to see Dax Milne just being very jaggy on the field.
I think there needs to be a literal fight.
An old school box it out for the job.
Absolutely.
Well, of course you want that, because Dax Milne will probably just run with his tail tucked between his legs. Ain't no way he's standing up in that fight.
It's the same way they choose the new prime minister in Australia.
A fight.
Yeah, they fight it out.
I would say we need to do that to select our next president, but they're both like 1,000,000 years old, so they both fall down dead.
They'll both die, and then where are we left? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's how you get a constitutional crisis, Steve.
And if the Secret Service is listening, I'm just kidding. Relax.
Yes. Well, we're saying a fisticuff, not.
Yeah, I'm talking about boxing match, right? And do it right at the Washington
gentlemen, right?
What?
They're both gentlemen. This will be Queensberry rules.
No, they're not. They're both raging narcissistic a-holes. So put them create a ring right by the Washington Monument. Let them fight it out, and the first one who dies loses.
Well, I mean,
we don't have to do death.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're gonna die. You can make it. It doesn't have to be even 3 rounds. One of them is gonna drop dead.
I don't even think either of them would have to throw a punch.
I don't think either one of them could throw a punch.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to this show.
Well, we had to try and vamp for a little bit because we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals, and God help us.
Oh, we started off vamping, now we ended vamping.
Now we're talking about Joe Biden and Donald Trump boxing out at the Washington Monument.
They would both really enjoy it. That's the sad part. They hate each other.
And But besides, Biden would walk in the ring, look at him, smile, and just wander off anyway.
He wouldn't even know he's in a boxing ring.
Yeah, no kidding.
He would not notice. No, that's fair. We do have to do predictions for this game, and then we're done.
I mean, I think we did already do a prediction, technically speaking. We
well,
went over every game.
But we always did a score.
You're right. Fine. Yeah. Well, I'm going to change my prediction. No. This is going to be an easy, big Washington win, and the fans are going to be super excited. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we all know that. But what's your number, Steve?
Numbers, I'm going to say I'm not that hyped about this offense. I think they need to prove themselves. So I'm going to say 27 10.
27-10?
Yeah.
Dave?
I'm going to stick to what I predicted in my article, which is 24-13, Washington.
I'm going to see your 27, but I don't think that Arizona gets to double digits. I think they score 6 points, 2 field goals.
Oh, that bad, huh?
Yes, that's how bad I think their offense is.
So I think they'll get 1 touchdown off of a Dax Milne muff punt, and they return it for a touchdown.
Maybe. I do love a muffed punt. The worst named thing in football, the muffed punt. Whoever named this thing, you are a horrible person.
Ooh, that was a muff.
Yeah. You can't say that on the air. This is 1922. All right, guys, that should wrap it up for this week. We will come back on next Thursday where we'll recap the game, and then we'll talk about the next one. And the next one is Denver. So that'll be an interesting game. A lot of personalities in Denver.
Yep.
We'll talk to you all then. Later.
See it. And who's ever going to the game, I'll see you there.